In math today, we're going to do another story problem, and it features some of our classmates. And the first thing that I want you to do is to, just like usual, we're going to read the math story problem. Yes, ma'am. And we are going to think about what the story is telling us. While I'm passing the rest of them out, you can be silently reading it to yourself, and then let's plan to have Tamani read it out loud for all of us before we start thinking about it. Okay. So, Tamani, go ahead and read this story problem out loud for us. I'm sorry, just a minute, Tamani. Lakaya and Tanita, when we walk into class first thing in the morning, we get ready for the day. What happened?
I forgot.
Lakaya, you were late. Okay, as quickly as you can.
There's a pencil over here on the floor, Tanita, that's not broken. Right there next to your table. This is my pencil.
Thank you, Dad.
You pick that pencil off the floor, though? Can you? Thank you.
All right, you've already read it once silently to yourself. Now Tamani's going to lead us in reading it out loud.
Plans Tanita and Ishmael are making sandwiches. Each sandwich needs 1 bun, 3 slices of salami, and 1 out of 2 of tomato. So we'll have 1.5. They want to make 6 sandwiches.
All right, let's go back to that symbol right there where Tamani said 1 out of 2. Who can help us with that? Because if we don't understand that concept, that's going to throw off what we know about the story problem.
1.5.
Okay, it looks like that might be throwing off a lot of people. What is that? What do those digits represent? Saban.
A half.
Okay, so it stands for half. And Tamani, when you think of half, what do you think of?
I think of like a tomato getting cut in half.
Okay, so now when we go to what do we know, I want you to show me about that half of tomato. So right now, on your own, read the story a second time to yourself, and then go to our middle box and start showing me what you know. After you read it a second time, you show me what you know.
Austin, how you
Okay, we're using pictures and words to show what we know.
Austin.
You can just draw right over that. What do you know? What do you know from this story? It's okay. What's it going on? What's the problem? What? All right, Flynn, we can find for you, okay? But you know what? You were here outside playing basketball when I came onto campus, and that was the time you should have been eating breakfast. But people sometimes make poor choices. We'll see if we can solve it. Okay, I see. Remember, we're not rewriting it. We're thinking about what do we know when we look at this sentence, at this story. Miracle, that's not thinking about what you know. Tell me what you know. What's one thing you know about this story?
Show you?
Yes, show me with either pictures or words. What's one thing you know?
That they made the
Alright, so they're trying to make 6 sandwiches. So let's draw 6 sandwiches. And they can be ish sandwiches, right? Remember our story, ish, how our pictures don't have to look, it's not about ours. Alright, now what else do you know about those 6 sandwiches? Alright, so how are you going to show 3 salamis? Oh, maybe you could just use the letter S. You could use a variable rather than drawing it. And that's taking what we've been doing. Oh, okay. I like how you put 6 boxes on there for sandwiches. Now, what else do you know?
They want tomatoes in each one.
Okay.
So not tomatoes in each one?
Absolutely. Or we could take it to the next step, and we've been talking a lot about variables in math. We could just put T for tomato.
Okay.
If you would rather not draw the picture, but you can draw the picture. But be careful, they don't need a whole tomato in each picture.
A whole one?
Do they need a whole tomato in each picture? No, that comes back to this kind of challenge where that was challenging right from the beginning of 1/2 is half.
We can set it
Oh, I like Savas created a diagram over here for his picture with labels. So he's using a combination of pictures and words. It looks like Alexander is creating a chart.
Why? Use it with your hand.
Nice, Taz. Now, Taz has also included the people into his what he knows, that there's 3 people working on this task. Okay, so so you put S for salami. Is it 1 piece of salami in each? Let's go back and read it again. Let's see. Each sandwich. Okay, so how should we make our picture? Edison has a unique technique going on right now. He's taking all the parts and having the pictures equal what the total sandwich is going to look like at the end. That's a unique strategy. Oh, I like how you did 3 slices. Half a tomato. That's a good idea. And maybe you should write
What is he
this
doing?
here, half, 1/2.
What are you doing? You can eat from box.
You could, but is it a whole T or is it half a T?
It's a half a tea.
So maybe you want to do half a T, or,
Like three tomatoes in each one.
right? Or maybe you want to show half a tomato.
So they need 3 slices of salami on each one? Okay,
Yeah, good, that's what you know. So 3 slices of salami on each sandwich. How are you going to show that?
You do it on just 3 boxes.
I'll draw
Right.
it.
So as you keep showing what you know, I'm going to ask a couple of people if I can put theirs up on this big screen so that other people can kind of see their strategies.
She's ripping that up.
May I borrow yours for a moment?
Why did she rip it up? Because you want the other people. Because you know how it was like when it erases turn white.
If you're struggling, here's a couple of examples of different ways people are showing what they know. Here's one example.
I'm right there. I'm erasing the whole paper.
Let's see if I can zoom it in a little bit.
Half a tomato.
We're challenged by the colored paper and pencil. Okay, so we drew a half a tomato. We drew one. I like how we have the variable here for 1 bun.
Who's that?
And 3 slices of salami, and then even use the equal sign for equals 1 sandwich. And then even wrote down some more things, the people that are making them, and that they're making 6 sandwiches. There's one way, not the only way. Let's see if we can get this one to show up.
Yeah. Who's that?
Tammy took the approach of,
Who turned off the lights?
um,
Yes.
no, just give me a minute. You keep working on what you're working on, and I'll get this to come into focus. I hope. I think Tammy's pencil drawing's too light. But Tammy went through and she's just, everything she knows she wrote down. She talked about what each sandwich needed and drew pictures of that with arrows and diagrams. See if I can find one more dark one to put up there. Alright, Tanita's in the process. I don't know if we're going to be challenged by this today.
It's too light.
Oh, I didn't think so. Oh no, here we go.
So why you put one salami on one? Don't you have to put three?
Yeah, but Tanita, are these salamis or are these tomatoes? Tomatoes. So Tanita's in the process of thinking about it. So are her sandwiches complete?
No.
Not yet. She right now has half tomato sandwiches. Keep
Why
thinking.
you need three?
That's the recipe they're following.
else.
Now what else is on those sandwiches other than tomatoes? Let's check out over here. Ooh, interesting strategy. This one's a little bit different. Yeah, you can see. Let me show a lot of people at the same time.
There's Jacob.
Jacob thought about what he knew, Michaela. Check it out. He created a chart. He drew his 6 sandwiches and then he charted out. He has a column for tomato, salami, and bun. And then he actually made a chart of how many ingredients are for each sandwich. Interesting strategy. I'm looking around. Austin, are you done? Have you thought about all that you knew? No? Okay, let's... One more minute or 2? You tell me. 1 or 2?
Yeah.
Let's go with 2 and see if you meet that, if you're done in 2. Okay, good. So you have, now what else is on here other than the salami? So let's go back. Okay, a tomato. How are you going to represent the tomato in that picture? So there's half a tomato on each picture.
Thanks for it.
Right, we're just trying to show it. So why don't you, how are you going to show half a tomato? Maybe half a circle? Alright, why don't you put a half a tomato into each of those sandwiches? Okay, now just to let you back and read the problem again. You have half tomato sandwiches, but what else is in these sandwiches they're making? And you have the bun. Is there any more information in there?
This is the tomato.
Alright, how many salamis do you need in each sandwich?
3.
Okay, so let's go back and let's make sure our picture shows that.
Okay.
How are we coming here, guys? Tomato. Alright, now you made 6 sandwiches. Is it 1 piece of salami? Let's go back and read. 1 bun,
Is that an
3 slices of salami, and 4
Is that an R?
If you change these letters to show that you have 3 slices of salami. 3 S's? There's 3 stressed here. Absolutely. So you have your people down. Also show what you know about the sandwich. They're not just any kind of sandwiches. They're the 3 you and Tanita and Heather following a specific recipe. Oh, I like how you... Can I borrow this one? No! Good. No, you're not comfortable with that?
Yes. Do you like this shirt?
I'm giving you... Okay. Want to show one more strategy?
Are you just taking pictures?
Michaela, she didn't get all into draw. A lot of the strategies I showed you showed 6 sandwiches that you were drawing. Michaela's approached it a little bit different, and she's just made one box that shows what goes in each sandwich. And labeled. Half a tomato, 3 slices, and 1 bun. So she'll be able to go back to that once we start with questions. What we want to No, you can't.
Wow. Is that a 7?
Okay. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum.
Bum, bum.
As you're finishing up your drawing of what you know, and I see that's only about 3 people, we're going to move towards the question. Now let's think about this story, this scenario. What questions could we ask? What questions could we ask about it? Now I'm going to keep your poem on the board, so I'm going to write.
I have a question. That was that.
Here.
Here.
All right.
That was from yesterday.
There we go. What questions could go along with this story? What things could mathematicians solve for this story? Kevin. All right. How many tomatoes and salami? Remember, are we copying this right now?
No.
No, we're just coming up with all the different possible questions that could be asked. How many tomatoes and salami are needed in all? That's right, Kevin. We're going to go along with popcorn, so you pick the next hand raised while I record.
How many sandwiches can they make if they had 10 buns, 7 slices of salami, and 1 fifth of
Hold on just a minute. I think your conversation is around these sandwiches, but it's breaking my concentration, so I'm going to have to ask Maddie to repeat. Can you stop?
Okay.
Thank you. Maddie, could you repeat it? I got how many sandwiches can they make?
If they had 6 buns. What was it? 10. I mean 10 buns.
Have 10 buns.
17 slices of salami and 1/5 of tomato.
And how many tomatoes?
1/5.
Okay, well, we haven't done a lot of work around fractions yet, but if you had 1/5 of a tomato, you don't even have enough to make 1 sandwich because 1/5 is smaller than 1/2.
It's 5.
So let's have some whole tomatoes. How many whole tomatoes? Just pick a number.
3.
All right, and 3 tomatoes. Popcorn it to Edison.
I did not hear you.
How many slices of
To Miracle, I can't concentrate.
how many slices of
Salami.
salami? Do they need one to write it down on the board
How many slices of salami do they need to
to make it sound?
make 6 sandwiches? Edison, popcorn it to one more person, and then I'm going to show you our question for the day. Michaela and Ishmael. This is as important as showing what you know is listening to all the different questions that mathematicians can create. I'm sorry, Edson. Who did you call him? Sabah.
How many whole tomatoes do you need to make 6 sandwiches?
It could fit one more.
It's 6.
No.
3. 3
See, it could fit one more because mine's short. Which one was yours?
Okay, I can tell that Tanita really wants to share her question, so I am going to try to squeeze it in. Go ahead, Tanita.
How many sandwiches would they each get?
Oh, so Tanita's going back to that information about the fact that there are 3 people involved in this. So how many sandwiches? So when we were focusing a lot on the ingredients, but Tanita's focusing on the characters involved in this story. How many sandwiches will each get? I saw a couple more hands up, and we could keep going, but because I'm trying to keep your poem up there, I don't think. Would you just like to say it out loud?
How many tomatoes? How many buns, tomatoes, and pieces of salami do you need to make 6 sandwiches?
Okay.
They will each get
Good one.
2.
That's similar to this one up here. Anyone else? So I think the outcome will be the same, Tamani, for this one here.
What is the
All right. Here is your question for today.
It's Tanita's.
It is going to be, how many slices of salami
Whose was that?
do you need
Edson.
to make 6 sandwiches? Right now, copy it down into the question box. And I'm going to add it up over here for people that are challenged across the room to see it. I can put our questions for our poem back up.
Do you like my picture? That's okay.
So it's how many slices
And then he eating the cake. Yeah, me too.
of salami are needed for 6 sandwiches? Question mark. Make sure it started with a capital letter and ended with a question mark. We know it, so let's show it. Okay, before we go to our next step, Lakaya, could you read the story for us for a third time?
Tess, Tanita, and Ishmael are making sandwiches. Each sandwich needs 1 bun, 3 slices of salami, and one half of a tomato. They want to make 6 sandwiches.
Okay, and our question is, how many slices of salami are needed for 6 sandwiches? What operation are we going to use to find this answer? Waiting for a dozen hands. Think it through before you're... Kelly, I see you quickly solving it, but what operation are we going to use? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need 5 more. 8. I need 4 more hands. 4 more thinkers. 3 more. Think it through. What operation are we going to use? 2 more. 1 more. operation can we use to find this answer? A voice I have not heard would